Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. We've got to talk about The Bachelor season 25, episode 8, because we are doing our Meet the Family segments, not hometowns. And we've got another quitter, Sarah.
Oh, but first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon and join us in our rewatch of Survivor Micronesia, there's a link in the description for you to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Join us. But first, right now, we got to talk about these ladies and Mr. Matt.
Yes, and they're all like snuggled up on the couch in the lobby, and Chris is there, and he's explaining, you've made it to, they keep referring to it as hometowns, but of course, this is not hometowns.
Consistency, David. Branding.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And Chris is kind of like walking each of them through kind of like who they brought. And I got to say, you know that I love to pull the curtain back, right, Sarah, on production?
Pull it back.
How does this work? Because surely they had to have flown the families out earlier, right? Because they had to like quarantine and get tested and all of that. So I'm like, how many families did they fly out? Did they fly out backup families because there wasn't a decision made? When were the families flown out? Or did Matt tell them, like, this is going to be the final four, you can just fly these families out?
Yeah, no, I think they had to have flown some extra families just in case. Because, you're right. Like, they have to have the families there. And so these four families were quarantining already. Just more proof that Kit was like, okay, I have to leave this episode. Right. Cynthia Rowley ain't quarantining over here in Nemacolin. So yeah, I think unfortunately, like, Abigail's parents were probably there. And I think, I think Piper's family was probably there. So I think there were some families that were more than likely sent home. And when you go through the process, you have to get a bunch of people to sign waivers. Like, all of the parents signed just releases for their images and to be talked about. And then probably while you're on the show, things can change. And I think that's why Chris is like, your parents did make it. It's probably possible. He was like, just your mom made it if something came up and a dad, something like that. Yeah. So I do think it is real when they hear, like, my mom and my best friend are here or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you were as shocked as I was to hear that Bre has a best friend named Brie, but I think that's psychotic. And I looked it up and it's spelled the same.
No.
Yes.
That's unacceptable.
B-R-I.
No. You have to spell it B-R-E-E. Like,
right?
There are plenty of Bries in the world. I understand you could accidentally have a best friend named Bre. Yeah. I used to be a babysitter. I used to be a nanny, and I took care of a girl named Emma, and one of her best friends was named Emma. Like, that's just going to happen.
Yeah.
But no B-R-Is.
Like Bree's also a nickname, right? Like, it's Brianna or whatever. Like, one of you has to go with a full name. Like, we got to work this out. But yeah, Michelle's date is first. So we are going to go meet her, Minnesota family. And she's excited. And when they show up, they're dressed alike. They're wearing the same color sweater, same dark jeans. And they get on they're going on a bike ride because that's
total twinsies.
Something that Michelle's family does that they can replicate at Nemacolin.
Yeah, she's like, we bike ride where I'm from.
Right.
You're like, okay, most people do, but all right, sounds good. Though everyone's like beginning part of their date is a little iffy, but I gotta say, she wins when they enter the classroom and they have her students on Zoom, and I am like choking up. This was the cutest thing I've ever seen. These little kids saying Miss Young and Mr. James, have you kissed? And I mean, it was just adorable.
I mean, this one it's not the flashiest date, right? It's not skydiving, off-roading, all of these things, but it feels like the most genuine glimpse into her life compared to these other women. Like, Rachel does not go skydiving every weekend with her family.
Please,
that's not a thing. But Michelle does teach these kids, so that was really sweet to see them. And of course, like, the kids are asking these questions that we all want to ask. And it's funny when the kids ask it, you know, and Matt's having to like answer the tough questions. And they're like, are you going to have babies? Are you going to marry her? And he's like, pump the brakes, kids. I've known this for 2 weeks shorter than the other ladies here.
Seriously, but you can't say that to a kid. I thought Matt handled it really, really well. And I loved this whole thing and this whole date. And it just made me feel like this is going to be the one that lets us down right here. Like,
I know.
We want this. We love it. It's like, this is so cute together. We're talking real life here, work and family. And so we're just getting our hopes up probably for this not to be it.
Oh, absolutely. And Michelle also, you know, after they finish the virtual classroom and say goodbye to the kids, everyone's so cute. They go out, sit on the blanket, and Michelle's, you know, explaining before they meet the family, you know, my parents were hesitant for me to kind of stop everything and go on this show. And I'm like, Michelle, like, I'm hesitant too, because I think he's not going to pick you. You're not the winner. And like, your parents are going to end up having been right.
Right. But it's so close because I do think they have a great connection. I think she might be the one if Rachel weren't on this season, you know? Oh, it's so close. I feel like it's so close with her. So then we leave this part and we get ready to meet the parents when Michelle lays it on the line and she says, I'm falling in love with you. Or wait, does she say that afterwards?
She says it at the end. Yeah, at the end. But she's kind of like talking it all through with her parents. Like, I honestly think maybe these conversations with her parents help her get there a little bit, because she, you know, steps aside after they do like the meet and greet. She does the conversation with her dad and he's like, would you say yes to a proposal? And I think he's expecting her to be like, I don't know. And she's like, I think I would. And she's nodding and she's getting a little teary. And I think it's kind of hitting her how quickly she's developed seemingly genuine feelings for Matt. Yeah,
she's super into him. Her parents are adorable. They were very, you know, they were doing the appropriate questioning, but while being extremely supportive.
Yeah. And, you know, her dad takes Matt aside and is like, I need to see if Matt's on the same page as Michelle, because obviously he's there to like protect his daughter. And he, you know, says, are you in love with Michelle? Matt says he's falling for her. And I was like,
he says he's falling for her. He's not able to really, you know, say
It's not, because he's already said, I love you to Rachel.
Yes. So, and really, ultimately, that's what happens in this entire episode is he says it to one girl, and that would be Rachel. So even here at the end, after they exit from the parents and she says it to him, he does his classic, thank you for telling me.
Thank you.
Eats her face, kisses, I mean. And that was it.
Yeah. So that one, I just really like her so much. And I would be thrilled if she was chosen, because I think she's a great choice. But it just feels like he's further along with Rachel here. And
I mean, Michelle, right. We would love for him to pick Michelle. He's not going to. He's going to pick Rachel. But if we got Rachel as a bachelorette, or if we got to see her actually succeed.
Michelle as a bachelorette, you mean?
Yes. Who did I say?
Rachel.
Yeah, no, Michelle. If we could see Michelle find love, that's what we would like to see.
Yes, absolutely. Give Michelle more options, you know, like give her 31 guys to pick from and find her perfect match. I would love to see that.
That would be lovely. Yeah.
Rachel gets a much flashier date, like I said, than Michelle did. She's not going on a bike ride. She comes in like a roadster. And
she's in some crazy car.
Hop in, Betty. Like, I'm going to take you to a private plane and we're going to go skydiving. I'm like, okay, budget on this date.
Okay, where did this have anything to do with? I know where she's from, Cumming, Georgia. I've been there. There's no skydiving place there. It's not known for skydiving. I was like, where's the connection here? Like, what does this have to do with you?
Nothing.
We know he's an adrenaline junkie. We know he likes to roll people on four-wheelers. So he's like, yes, my dream girl. She just wants to do crazy things with me.
Yes, these are the kinds of activities that get your blood pumping and create, I hate to say it, false connections. With people,
say it.
Right?
Say it.
It's like you think you survived this thing together and you think you're in love, but it's just those endorphins pumping through your body and you're feeling good, but like it's not necessarily a real connection.
It's
but
like a Bonnie and Clyde thing. It's like when you like, we're going to rob a bank together. We're so in love. And you're like, is this real life? Is this what you're going to do every weekend?
No, it's just a rush.
No. Yeah. Then David, they gave us some preview, but when I saw her on a plane strapped to a literal child,
I
was like, oh, wait a minute. I know we signed releases, but something doesn't look right, producers.
No, of course they strap him to the guy with like blue plastic sunglasses who looks like he's a minor.
He looks legit. He looks like he's jumped out of a plane before.
Sure. Yeah.
Rachel's partner looks like this is his first day on the job.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Sorry. That's what I was thinking about. He's the guy. Rachel's partner is the guy with like the goofy glasses and like, yeah, bro, let's jump out of this plane, Rachel. Like,
he's like, I'm on TV, jumping out of a plane. I was like, did no one say to him, you've got like precious cargo? Like, this is a attractive young lady who is vying for a man's attention. Yeah. Let's not pummel her to the earth.
Oh my God. Yeah. But this is like a dream come true for Matt, right? When they say like, we're going to free fall from 12,000 feet to 5,000 feet, Matt is like, yeah, bring it on. You know, like this is everything he always wants to do. I did notice right before they go and get on the plane, they're like, are you ready? And they give us Rachel saying yes. I'm like, they wanted to make sure they got that consent on camera from her and aired it.
This was her idea. She wanted to do it. Yeah. She said yes.
Yeah.
And then we put her on an amateur.
So they push her out with this kid that she's babysitting as she's free falling. And as she's falling, she's like, Matt, I told you that I was falling for you, and now I'm literally falling for you. And I'm like, no, Rachel, don't.
Rachel, this is not. I was like, where's that Georgia connection? And she's like, don't worry about it, Sarah. Let me tell you where the connection is. I'm falling for you, literally. Oh, boy. And then Matt comes gracefully down, as you should.
Just the slightest little bounce on his butt.
Yep.
Down on the ground.
And he's all like, amazing. This is so incredible.
Yes.
And then we like have the camera shot of the other two just go.
Oh my God. Like you see him take a little bit of a weird turn and then her whole side of the body and then her face slams into the earth. They like tumble over each other. I'm like, this woman is concussed. There's no doubt in my mind that she has a concussion. Is she even alive?
Yes. I was like, well, they won't be showing this to us if it's like seriously severe. But let's go. I mean, thankfully, like Matt is a human being and he like jumps up and he like is running over for her. But she rolls over and she's like... She's seeing cartoon birds at this point. She's like,
her hair is like all of the grass in the hair standing straight out of her head. There's grass in her mouth. She's trying to be graceful on camera.
Yeah, she's like, they're filming this. Oh my God. Oh, she had dirt like all up in it, which thank goodness that was all she had. Because like, I feel bad laughing about this because
I know
that's legit, but it's because she's safe that we can now laugh about it.
Exactly.
Because she looked like she was pretending that everything was okay when she didn't feel great.
She's like clearly hurt, but there's like a very obvious cut where they kind of help her up, and her, like I said, her hair's like this, and there's strong, and then like the next cut, fully redone hair and makeup.
Fully redone. Yes.
They were like, fly in the hair straightener. We got to get the powder back. Well, actually, just bring the full makeup kit because we've got some bruising we need to cover. Like, she is fully redone. And Matt's like, so are you okay? And she's like,
I think first they flew in the medic. I think she got a full, like, spine is still intact. Like, she got a full workover. Yeah, the poor medic at first was like, should I be fixing her hair? Should I take this clump of dirt out of her hair real quick? Well, that's telling her how much he cares about her.
Oh my God, I know.
Important.
Yeah, okay. I was like, Matt, save it.
Yeah. Cut 2, completely redone. I was like, oh shoot, they really got makeup in. Okay, she's okay, guys. Oh,
she's okay. And then they try to spin it into this romantic moment where, you know, Matt handled this perfectly, and Rachel's like kind of tearing up in her confessional, and I'm like, are you tearing up because you're moved by Matt's response, or because your head still is throbbing? Yes, I'm not sure.
Hurts. Your body hurts, like head to toe.
Yeah.
And then I swear, yes, and then obviously this is when he says, like, I'm falling in love with you. Like, this is when he gives the most that he has given to any female. But I have to say, like, when she is with her parents, God, I hate that I'm laughing about this, but she looks like she's on heavy medication. I felt so bad for her because I was like, she's sucking it up for this episode.
She absolutely
like,
is.
She's legitimately in pain, and she looked like she was on heavy medication and not moving her body, and her face looked a little swollen right around here. And I was like, oh my God, Rachel, you are
bad.
You're powering through.
And like when she shares with her family that she went skydiving, the mom's like, I've always wanted to go skydiving. That's great. And Rachel's like, well, I had a little bit of a rough landing.
And when I say rough, like, I'm talking, it was not good, Mom.
She's like, this is a lot of makeup.
She's like, we're on TV right now, but let me tell you, I'm jacked. Oh my God. I like felt so bad that Rachel couldn't just like walk in and be like, Mom, I hit the ground.
Well, she did cry when she saw them, like, immediately. And it felt like more than just I'm so happy to see you cry. It felt like, Mommy, please take care of me kind of a cry. Please. You know, like, I'm injured.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, man.
But otherwise, the fact that she's a super trooper, honestly, that she like powered through the state.
Yeah.
Her dad does not seem to be super into this.
No, he's the most skeptical. Like, the mom was a little bit, you know, because Rachel was like, no red flags with Matt. And the mom's like, not even one red flag? Are you sure? Because, like, that's a red flag that you don't see any red flags, you know? But the dad
I don't think you actually spent enough time together for there to be a red flag. I was like, well, they had that one time, and then they, like, kind of saw each other this day. So when are you going to see a red flag?
Right, exactly. But you're right. The dad is the one who's like, Matt, how can you fall in love with 4 women at the same time? Like, can you talk me through that? And I feel like Matt wants to be like, no, I understand, but like, you don't get it. Rachel really is the one. Like, she's the only one. Like, he wants to say that, but he can't say that on camera. So he's like trying to negotiate this gracefully.
But it was interesting because Rachel, who, I don't know, why does she want him to get his dad's blessing? But whatever, she addresses that she wants, she's Southern and young. She wants Matt to ask her dad for his blessing. And I'm like, I don't think you would even get it if he did ask, because your dad's being kind of like harsh. Like, even to Rachel, her dad was like, I don't know. And she was like having to like cut him off and be like, it is, Dad. It's fine. It's Dad. Yeah. He likes me. Trust me. Like, she had to like kind of cut him off and be very, you know, daughtery with him and be like, stop it. But then he doesn't ask for the blessing, even though it seems like he knew she wanted him to, because they talk about it later. So why didn't he? David?
It's an interesting thing that he, you know, gave that excuse to Rachel, like, I didn't want to have that conversation with 4 families, because if I'm Rachel, I'm then thinking like, okay, that means you only want to have the conversation with one family, and that is not my family.
Not
like
me?
you must be having this conversation with somebody else's family this week. Like I would immediately start to second guess things if I'm Rachel. And the blessing thing used to just be standard practice. Like the Bachelor would go to 4 hometowns and would ask for the blessing at all 4 hometowns. Like that's kind of how it used to be. So it must be a Matt thing for like him to not want to do this at this point. It used to be pretty straightforward and just part of the process. And I think especially for someone from the South, like that's just a very traditional thing in the South. So I think that's especially, like I said, why Rachel is looking for it here. But I don't know what Matt's deal is here.
Yeah, because if I stressed that was important to me, and then he said to me, I don't want to do that with 4 girls, I'd be like, yeah, no, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. You're asking for my family, not theirs, because I'm the one, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was confusing. But overall, like we said, he does express love, the L word with her. She expresses it as well. And we don't see that with any of the other girls.
Nope. So that's why we are saying over and over again that Rachel's our winner.
Rachel's the winner. Is it winning? Is this a winning? Do you win this show?
Getting the proposal.
She's going to get the proposal.
Presumably. But next up is Brie. And Brie's like, remember how you flipped me on an ATV? Well, I'm going to take you off-roading and not kill you. I'm going to show you how it's done. And I did love the way they shot this because, again, pulling back the curtain.
Yeah.
The footage from the inside of the car with the GoPro is a completely different take from any exterior footage that we saw of the car going fast whatsoever. Because Brie's ride was very, like, Matt was making some faces of like, whoa. But like, he's literally just doing this. Like, along because Brie's going slow. Like, she's not really off-roading here.
No. I do really enjoy though when because then they like sort of park and they like put out a blanket and they chat here. I really did enjoy their conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've expressed that she had the first one-on-one and we like, where did Brie go? We don't know anything about Brie anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, she wasn't too caught up in all the Mean Girl stuff. But like, it was like, oh yeah, you guys did have a connection. You guys are having a lovely talk. It was just nice to see and be reminded. And
it was. And she's kind of like, you know, my mom might be tough on you. Just fair warning. Like, she's a single mom. It's just me and her. And he's kind of like, I get it. Like, I understand what it's like to have a single parent. So I'm kind of uniquely prepared for this situation. And I know probably more intimately what your mom is thinking than other people would. So it's all good, you know, but it's kind of, like you say, nice to have that reminder of like why they connected in the first place. But I don't know if he was ready for Brie's mom because she laid the smack down on Matt, in my opinion.
Brie's mom might have won this whole episode. She was great because she was like the single mom with the tough questions and like on top of it, but she also was the most supportive mom with Brie. Like, wow, I just adored her. Yep,
she is clearly terrified of her daughter having her heart broken in this scenario. And she's almost roasting Matt at the beginning because they kind of like ask, you know, what have you been up to? Like, I think Matt and Brie maybe ask Brie and Brie's mom. The fact that there are 2 Bries here is we can't even deal with it.
Don't.
But they're like, you know, what have you been up to? And the mom is like, well, we know what Matt has been up to, dating other women. Like, just coming right. And he's like, yeah, dating your daughter too.
Dating your daughter. That's what I've been doing. I was like, yeah, bring that fire. Let's go. Let's have fun.
And he's like, well, Brie actually was the first one-on-one, thinking that's going to like win her over. And she goes, interesting. Like, she's just not here to be impressed by anything.
The friend was impressed. The friend was like, oh, yes. Okay. But
no, the friend was like, don't mind her. She's just, it's great. We love you, Matt.
She has a baby. She's sleep deprived. The baby was very cute to see her. But yeah, when that moment when her mom was like, worst case scenario, you're like recovering from a broken heart together. You're just like, that is a mom.
I know.
That is a mom who raised that girl all by herself right there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Brie is also expressing to her mom that she's scared because she is falling in love. And the mom is probably like, well, crap, because when I asked Matt if he was falling in love with you or if he was in love with you, he said he was falling for you. Again, like he's using very specific language here in certain places. And it's meaningful. And Brie goes ahead and puts herself out there at the end of the date after they say goodbye to the fam. She says she's falling in love. He says thank you. Hard. And they kiss. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's what Brie has to do. And it's very hard for her to say it. And I feel you, girl. But I was like, suck it up for the TV. Just do it. You got to say it.
Right.
So she's like, but I ain't falling in love with you. And he says, cool.
Yeah.
Kissy.
If you're really feeling that, you got to say it. Because otherwise, you're going to have that edit of the girl who was in love and just couldn't say it. And then she got sent home for that reason. So, you know, I feel the same way as you. Like, I'm glad she did it because she really is feeling that way. But I just, you know, we know the other side of it and that he probably doesn't feel the same way. So it's tough to watch.
It is. It's super tough to watch. Especially at the end of this, it's real tough to watch. But first, I was waiting for this one. Oh, Serena. Coming in.
Friend zone like, Serena.
Girl, this is it. We're going to realize we're in the friend zone. We're going to realize we don't have feelings for Matt today. Okay?
Right. That's right.
That's what I was manifesting for her. And it kind of went that way.
Oh, for sure. First of all, she's way too happy at the beginning. Did you notice this? She's so like, happy. Mad, woohoo! I am so excited for you to be here. I love Canada. She's like singing the Canadian national anthem on the way into this empty bar where she's going to teach him trivia. But she's just like, I'm so glad you're here. It's too much. It's already, you're covering something deep within.
Yeah, she's like, oh my God, it's my best friend that I don't like to kiss. Let's go talk about the place that I'm from. This is so much fun. Let's hang out like bros would right now. And let's learn some things about geography and let's eat some food. When they were
disgusting poutine.
Okay, I have never tried it, but I'm so in love with French fries that I have to imagine I would love it.
But did you look at what it looked like? That
it had been
gravy on top. I was like,
during production, gross. They put it out under those hot lights, and we're like,
not good.
You can still eat this, right? And she's like, yeah, with my hands. Let's go. Poutine. Then when they get on the ice and they're like hitting the puck and like they're having fun and they're joking around about how she's so much better than he is. And I was like, look at these friends on the ice playing some hockey.
Yeah, friends. No, and did you notice too, she fed him some like pastry bar or whatever, and he didn't like open he was like messing around, flirting, and he like didn't open his mouth when she like didn't close his mouth when she put the pastry in his mouth, and then it just like was kind of sitting there in his mouth. And I was like, Matt, you think you're being funny, but this is what it's like to kiss you. So like, don't. It's disgusting.
Don't.
You got to stop.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And then there was
it's very friend zone, the whole thing.
Total friend zone. And there was another moment where I don't even remember now, but there's every single time that Serena and Matt have been together, there was a moment where she goes, like she doesn't find him funny. Or
no.
She doesn't, you know, like he'll be like, haha. And she's like, yeah, whatever. Like she has just shown all the signs. Like we see it all there.
Yeah.
She did it again on this date where she was like, oh, okay. And I was like, oh, God.
Even with like the trivia, when she's like, how many points are on the maple leaf on the flag or whatever? And he's like, I don't know, 11. And like, sorry, but why would someone from America know that? And I guess he could have looked around at the flags, but you know, he says 11. She's like, ugh, no, Matt, it's 9. Like she's just obviously annoyed with him.
Right. She's so annoyed with him. She does not have the patience of someone who's like, he's just amazing, whatever he does.
Yes.
No,
right.
None of that. But thank goodness for Serena's sister. That's all I gotta say here.
God.
Thank goodness laid that out for her.
She calls it right out. Like they meet the family. Matt has a quick conversation with the mom where he's like explaining to the mom why he likes Serena. And then we get to the good stuff and we don't have to see Matt anymore for this family date because you're right. At first it's the sister And she's like, you are not in love, Serena.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it like it is.
Yeah. Serena's like, you know, this about him and this about him. It's great. And the sister's like, you don't seem smitten.
Mm-mm.
And you like see it in Serena's face. Her face drops. She goes from like, isn't he great to, oh, that's what it is. I don't actually have feelings for him. Oh, wow.
Yes. She's trying. She's been in her own head this whole time, trying to talk herself into having feelings for Matt.
Yep.
Oh, this is great. And this is great. And this is great. And yeah, sure. Maybe those things are great about Matt, but you don't like him. And that's the issue. So that's a very eye-opening conversation with Serena. Then she talks to her dad where she's like, yeah, I'm kind of freaking out about a potential engagement. Not good. Like this is it's just getting more and more intense. And by the time she's with her mom's like, oh, Serena, oh, come here, my child. Oh God, this is bad. This is not good.
Yeah. And Serena's like, oh, you're right. It's not. And her mom said something about a past relationship that didn't go well. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh God, do we have past relationship trauma on top? Like, of course, like you could be so guarded and just like,
of course.
Yeah, sure. This is the right relationship for me, I think. Oh, wait, no. Is it?
And like the fact that past relationship trauma never came up before on a date with Matt is also a bad sign. Like that's classic first one-on-one date conversation about like, oh yeah, my past relationship, like this is why it didn't work, but we didn't hear anything about that, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't think Serena knew she was still dealing with it. I think she thought it was over because she's been living in her head and not feeling in touch with her heart lately, apparently. Mm-hmm. So she walks out from the whole family part. And this is like when we would say, I'm falling in love with you. But instead, she's like, I got some doubts. And Matt's like, you know what? That's cool. We have all the time in the world to talk about it. And she's like, huh?
Yeah. He's like, I just need you to like stick it out and trust me. And she can't even say that she trusts him. You know, she's just like, all right.
That's she's like, I don't, okay. Yeah. And he's just like, cool. It's all good.
It's another Kit situation where she's like, I'm laying it out pretty clearly here that you got to say goodbye to me. And he is not picking that up. He's like, I'm going to leave that right there. You just trust me. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, I was like, oh dear, what's happening right now? But luckily, I think producers intervened here because
100%.
Chris was like, hey, let's have a talk.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to set up some couches, some pillows, a nice blanket in the middle of the woods, and we got to have a conversation. And wow, Matt, it really sounds like you need answers from Serena, and it needs to be before the rose ceremony, Matt. Yeah. So you need answers now.
And even with the producers intervening and setting it up, he still does not seem to get it. Because he's like, yeah, I guess I'll go talk to... Serena said she wanted to talk about some things. Let's go talk about some things. And he shows up. She was not warned at all. And she's like, oh, hey.
Oh.
So I was just telling this producer over here that I'm not sticking around.
Right. And I was gonna ghost you. And now you're here.
Oh, but since you're here.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was really going to have the producers say goodbye for me, but let's do this. Okay.
Let's do it. And he starts out with like, I see a future with you.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yep. He's still in it for whatever reason. Like he seems to be honestly more into this than either Michelle or Brie. I think so. Maybe it just feels that way because he's having to fight harder for it because Serena is resistant. But I'm just kind of shocked that he's fighting for something when he has like 3 great women who are like falling over him and telling him that they love him. And then the one that is like, I don't know about this. He's like really pushing to keep her, talking about this future. And then she finds a very long-winded way of saying, you're just not my person.
You're not my person.
And then he is completely silent for, I went back and timed it, almost 30 seconds before he offers like a little grunt in the back of his throat, 10 more seconds of silence. And then he finally speaks. It's so awkward.
It is. You really see the surprise. He did not think that this conversation was going to go this way. He thought that he and Serena had a connection.
Right. Like,
that's what's so confusing. Is like
that alone is laughable.
Exactly. Like, I don't know how he feels about Michelle and Brie. That's confusing. But we definitely see a connection with them.
Yeah.
But we have never seen a connection with Serena, even from their first one-on-one. And the fact that he is like this and silent to the fact that she says, "You're not my person."
Right.
I was just like, Matt, where have you been this whole time?
Well, and then when he finally does speak, he admits that he knew something was off. And that this sucks and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, whatever. It doesn't really matter what he said. He's just kind of like finally processing it because the truth is now like punching him in the face and he can't deny it anymore. And so finally he's like, yeah, you know, well, when you said you had your doubts, I figured something was wrong, but I thought, you know, he probably thought they could work through it.
Yeah.
But this is it. Like, this is the moment where it's official. She's leaving. And he's like, okay, I guess walk me out. And then he's really emotional.
She walks him out, the Bachelor. She walks the Bachelor out on his own show. And he has in the car drive off.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She just got eliminated from Serena's season of The Bachelorette. Like, what just happened? How did the tables flip like that? And this is the third full quit that we've seen this season. First it was Sarah, then it was Hit, now Serena. And I'm counting Abigail as a quit as well, because she was like, don't you dare eliminate me at a rose ceremony. If you're going to do it now. And then he said,
like, pay up, buddy.
You know?
Yeah.
So this is like not great. It's just not a good track record.
Is this more quits? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a record, but it feels like a record. I don't remember this many people quitting. But at the same time, we were talking a little bit before we went live. It does feel a little bit more real because it's silly for 31 women to come on a show and they all fall madly, deeply in love with the same man. That's not real life.
It's not. I'm so grateful that Serena had a real moment where she realized that she'd probably just been talking herself into it because she's on camera or just on the show. And she figured it out. And it is real life to be like, I don't know how I made it to top 4, but I don't like you. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm surprised that this is a lot more quits than usual. I would hope that the girls would be like, no, you're not doing it for me. I'm out of here. I much prefer to see that.
Yeah. And I just have to imagine that at this point, Matt is like, well, damn, I should have kept Heather because she really was serious about making something work. And now I'm just saying goodbye to Serena. Okay.
I didn't even think about Heather. That's hilarious. I was thinking of Piper or Jessica.
No, keep
Heather.
the girl who's a little unhinged, who drove in a minivan and was like,
psycho.
You're going to meet my family in 1 week.
Blew herself out and her family came with her just in case for hometowns. That's hilarious. He should have kept Heather. Oh my gosh.
But we do get
why everybody doesn't like Matt. So many people don't like Matt.
No, Busy, you said it. And thank you for saying it so I didn't have to. These girls feel the same way we all do. They're like, I can't. The open mouth, you're not funny. You know, it's just not. You're not the biggest catch in the world. So I'm going to see myself out.
Oh, no. That's so sad. Well, what's even more sad in my book, and I think Brie's book, is that we have 3 girls standing there now and 3 roses.
Yep.
And you just go, so no Serena?
Where have you seen her today? Is she going to come?
I don't know. And then Matt's like, so by default, you guys all get a rose.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, this doesn't feel special at all.
No, totally. Do we have to do the whole do you accept this rose thing? This is a little bit embarrassing now.
But yeah. Just be like, hey, they're all here for you guys. Cool.
Let's just everybody come up. Here's your roses. I'll hand them out and we can toast. But, I think it is, it is funny when they're standing there and Matt's like, okay, let me remind you what it means to accept a rose and what you are communicating when you accept a rose, because Serena didn't mean it. Okay. So when you say that you accept it, it means that you are also seeing a future with me.
Yeah.
Let's not embarrass me any further. Thanks.
Oh, right. He's like, I am actually asking you a question. Don't be blinded by the rose. I'm saying, will you accept it? So just go ahead and say no. It's kind of like Abigail was like, go ahead and let me go.
Right. Yeah.
Two-way street here. Yeah. He really thought that when they were like, yeah, I'll accept this rose, that they really did have feelings for him. And like you said, it's not realistic that they're all going to have feelings for you.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
It's not.
But these three ladies, the final three, they're all kind of like, yes, happily, with pleasure, no hesitation. They all accept the rose. So I'm not even a bit. I'm very intrigued to see what happens, that we finally get the payoff of this scene with Matt sitting on the curb, crying again. Chris is having to step in. Can you even do this anymore? I don't think I can, Chris. This was in the tease for the season in episode 1, and now we're getting it in the final 2 episodes. So I can't imagine what happens.
We finally get a sad Matt.
Mm-hmm. Not
sure if somebody else leaves him or if he just is crumbling under the pressure of making a choice here.
Mm-hmm.
Does it matter what order he picks? Because he said Michelle over Rachel.
Yeah, with nobody going home, I didn't read really anything into it. If there would have been a bottom 2, if it would have been Brie and Serena P in the bottom 2, I would have been oh, yikes, not good for either of them at this point to be the last rose called. But I don't know what it really means when there's nobody eliminated,
Right. It did make me think that Brie might have been the one that was going to leave and Serena was going to make the cut to final 3. The way that this went down, but it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. Other than the fact that he's 100% proposing to Rachel, everything else is 100% hard to tell.
Yeah. We have no doubt.
No doubt. Don't know how it's all going to come around, but I have no doubt. So next week is the Women Tell All.
Yeah.
Which I can't say that I'm super excited about because I don't want to see Victoria again, and half of those girls are mean girls. So
I know.
Care.
Do we care? I'll watch because I watch everything, but the only person I really care to see, I think, is Katie. I don't know that I care about it. I certainly
Abigail,
don't care.
Maybe.
Oh, yes. Excuse me. Yes. Thank you for correcting me. Absolutely, Abigail as well.
Katie and Abigail. And
I'm also curious to see this Matt in this beard. This quarantine beard is huge. So I'm what's going on there? Are we working through some demons because we're growing this beard? What's going on? So
we're working through a failed proposal is probably what we're working through. Discovered a few things about his fiance that aren't hitting real great with him. So he might be growing that beard out for that. After the Women Tell All, though, what do we have? Do we have 1 or 2? How do we wrap this up?
I was looking up the listings today, so it'll be final 3 and then final 2 or whatever. It's been so irregular the past few seasons. They don't necessarily follow any kind of structure. And because, as producers, they're probably we got to top what happened next season. Who knows how things are going to go.
Right.
Maybe Sarah comes back, and he's got to grapple with that. I don't know. But 2 more episodes after the Women Tell All. It does seem lately they have been doing an hour of Women Tell All and then an hour of new footage, but it looks like it's fully Women Tell All and then just a sneak peek at the rest of the season. So I think it's only Women Tell All next week and then 2 full episodes and we're done. I think.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds good. So that means we probably won't be here next week with that. Recap of Women Tell All is not important, and BB Canada is important. So more than likely we will have some extra BB Canada stuff for you next week instead. But I'm finding this fascinating that some people in the chat don't think he's going to propose. I would put money that he proposes to Rachel.
Huh.
What would stop him from proposing to Rachel? And she would have to leave, and I don't see that happening.
Yeah. He's been saying he's in love with her.
Yeah.
So I sense a proposal coming, but interesting theory.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
Now, we also don't have Drag Race this week.
That's right. So we don't have Drag Race. We don't have Bachelor next week. What we are going to have for you is a lot of BB Canada stuff. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed and get those notifications when we go live, because the schedule might be a little bit different next week. Mm-hmm. BB Canada, Natalie's asking how you watch. Seth, will you put that link for Video Brother in the chat? There is an easy way to watch if you're in America.
And then before we close out The Bachelor here, I do want to point out that last scene where Matt is riding bikes with Michelle and crashes over the end of her bike. Because now, at this point, all three of the final women have had some sort of accident happen with Matt. And they all, just for their own safety, need to walk away. Maybe that's what we end up with in these last 2 episodes. They all are like, they all compare notes.
Physically causing harm.
This man is dangerous. So we gotta go.
walk away. No, what I want to point out, though, because that was hilarious, that he was trying to knock her over, but he knocked himself over.
Yes.
But most of these bloopers have been with Michelle lately, and I'm like, because she's great, pick her. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But also, he's so much more fun in the bloopers, don't you think?
He is. Yeah, he's not good at the
give us
stage scripted beats. Show us relaxed, chill Matt. He seems more likable that way.
I don't know. I think he's more fun than you guys think, but we just didn't see it on TV. I agree. He didn't give us stellar TV, but I think he's a good guy. I don't know. Well, we'll see. I don't know. You guys, thank you for joining us live in the chat. We appreciate all of your insight.
We do. And if you're joining us later, let us know what you thought of this skydiving accidente. Like Sarah said, we can laugh about it because she's okay. She survived.
She's okay, you guys. She's okay.
But I think she's got some bruising there that she's recovering from. Let us know what you thought about the Serena situation, and how do you see these next couple eliminations going? Who's he going to propose to? Is he going to propose? Let us know your thoughts.
We got to know. Do you think there's going to be an actual proposal? All right, you guys, we will see you next time.
Bye. All right, bye.